So the Nintendo Switch 2, it's in the works. It's been a long time. Like, it's 7 years since the first Nintendo Switch came out. No Nintendo console lasts that long. So by now we're wondering, when are they coming out with the Nintendo Switch 2? Which will probably flop because that's what Nintendo likes to do. Either way, let's get into it. So it's a pretty great system altogether. So how do you improve it? So first of all, no Joy-Con drift. That was always irritating and ruined a bunch of my controllers. Next, a full library of classic games that includes every single game from every single console, which the Switch can very well do. Next, improve the dock. The dock is way too big and bulky. And additionally, portability. I know it's supposed to be this handheld console and home console, but the fact is that you don't really feel like, with the Switch alone, it's not portable. It has to be portable in its own right, like the 3DS or Game Boy. And in addition, I forgot to put this on the list, but also add some character to it. Like, if you remember the Wii home menu or even the Wii U home menu, it always had so much character in it. That is why you loved it so much. So add some character into the home screen. It's not that big of a deal, but yeah, put some character into it. So first of all, no Joy-Con drift. Now, I'm not an expert in this by any means, but I do know that the 3DS controller had no Joy-Con drift. And also, the little circle as the analog stick, it just feels so nice. Like, you know, when you pushed up the most, and it just feels so natural. It's much better than the big long stick sticking out of it. That just feels weird, and I feel like I'm going to break it at some points. And I know that's probably not a problem any of you guys have, but just for me, it's a little bit of an irritant. So next, you want a full library of the classic games. Every single game that you could ever want to play from a Nintendo console should be on the ideal Nintendo Switch. And right now, the Nintendo Switch does a pretty good job at it. I mean, you got Nintendo Switch games, obviously. They've been remaking a bunch of Wii U games. In fact, that's most of their library is just remakes of Wii U games. You could play N64 with the Nintendo Switch Online. You could play NES, SNES, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color with it. The only games that you really can't play are the ones that have a second screen, because you're missing something without that second screen. Obviously, with the Wii U, that's questionable because some games are just like, the game has kind of useless, but some games do require it. So you want a second screen. And with that, just add 2 screens. And it already looks like Nintendo Switch is good to do this. I got this picture from Nintendo Life, and they claim it's some type of patent that Nintendo filed for in Japan. So it looks like they're already on top of that, which is very cool. And I know some people are like, oh, it's a second screen, who cares? But it makes a big difference in gameplay. And the next one is the dock. I never liked how bulky and big the dock was. It always just felt annoying, and there's so much air in between it. But they've already made one, so if you want to buy this dock, call it a day. Looks nice. The only thing I will say is that because it doesn't close shut, if you leave it out for a little while, and if you live in a really dusty area, there is most assuredly going to get a bunch of dust on that screen. So that's the only downside. And next, portability. Again, it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be a portable console. It feels like it's just stuck in this weird place where you can take it around your house, but you don't really leave the house with it. I'm not saying that many people like bust out their Game Boy or their 3DS in public and start playing it like that, but you see it more often than with the Switch. So yeah, easy fix. The slam down, shut in 2 screens. Very easy. And also, in addition, I like the more Fisher-Price feel of like the Wii U and the 3DS. It made it feel like I was less likely to break it, so I felt more comfortable carrying it around with me. Unlike the Nintendo Switch, I feel like it's like this fragile piece of technology that I just gotta like protect and guard all the time. Like, I never play it without it being over like a piece of furniture or a blanket or something. It just feels like it's so fragile, as opposed to the Wii U gamepad or the 3DS, which feel like I could probably slam this against a table and it'll be fine. So without further ado, I'm going to present to you my ideal Nintendo Switch 2 design.